Before the echoes of history, there was only the raw material of existence. We shaped it, and in doing so, we shaped ourselves.
Uruk did not begin as a city. It began, like every settlement before it, as a village, a handful of families and a shared fire. But by the time this street is bustling, that village has become something else entirely. Markets, workshops, a skyline. Something happened to get here. This is Uruk on the banks of the Euphrates, the year roughly 3100 BCE. To understand what changed, we have to go back, before the walls, before the markets, to the two things that made a village into a city in the first place, a river and a surplus it could not use all at once. The Tigris and Euphrates did not make farming easy. They made it necessary to cooperate. Canals had to be dug, maintained, and sharing at this scale required someone to keep track. So Uruk did something no city had done before. It wrote things down. Not poetry, not prayer, grain totals, debts, who delivered what, and who still owed. Writing was not born from inspiration, it was born from bookkeeping. And what a city produces, a city has to move. Boats carried grain and cloth down the river and brought back what Mesopotamia lacked: timber, stone, metal it could not grow. Already its people were reaching upward, a temple platform rising at the city's center, the first hint of a shape that would appear, in one form or another, everywhere this story goes next. Uruk was not alone for long. "800 miles west, along a different river, Egypt was uniting under a single ruler at nearly the same moment. "500 years later, cities would rise in the Indus Valley. A 1,000 years after that, along the Yellow River in China, the pattern would repeat once more. 4 rivers, 4 centuries apart, the same discovery, made again and again. That surplus, once it exists, has to be counted, defended, and ruled. This is not the story of one city's rise, it is the story of a pattern, one that would repeat, independently, across the ancient world. This is Egypt, uniting for the first time under a single ruler, around 3100 BCE, so close behind Mesopotamia that the two may never have known of each other. Here, surplus came on a schedule. Each year the Nile flooded and receded, leaving behind soil so fertile that famine was the exception, not the rule. Predictable abundance bred something Mesopotamia had to build by hand, a king who claimed the flood itself as proof of his authority. And so Egypt did what surplus and authority combined make possible. Tens of thousands of workers, fed and organized for months at a time, raised stone monuments meant to outlast every one of them. The pyramid was not simply a tomb, it was proof, visible for miles, that this authority was real. Egypt's monuments would outlast every civilization in this story, but 1,300 miles east, a very different kind of city was about to prove the pattern could produce a very different kind of answer. Five centuries after Uruk's first tablets, the pattern reached the Indus River Valley. These are the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, planned on a grid, built from bricks manufactured to a single standard size. Laid out with covered drains running beneath nearly every street, in some ways, this may be the most advanced urban engineering anywhere in the ancient world. Its people traded across enormous distances, using a system of weight so consistent that a merchant's scale in one city matched a scale hundreds of miles away. And yet, after a century of excavation, archaeologists have never found a palace here. No throne, no image of a king, no temple built to glorify a single ruler. Every other civilization in this story announced its power in stone. This one may never have had a single ruler to announce. Whatever governed the Indus Valley, it left no monument to itself. 1,000 years later, and further east still, the pattern would produce an answer that could not be missed. By 1600 BCE, 3,500 miles east, along the Yellow River, a new state was announcing itself very differently. This is the Shang. Like every civilization before it, its power began with a river and a harvest. Millet grown along the Yellow River's fertile floodplain. But where Mesopotamia kept ledgers, the Shang kept something closer to a hotline to the ancestors. Diviners heated turtle shells and ox bones until they cracked, then inscribed the questions asked and the answers read. The earliest Chinese writing yet discovered, born not from trade, but from the business of ruling. And where Egypt built pyramids, the Shang built an army. Bronze workshops cast weapons and fittings for horse-drawn chariots. Technology that let this state do something none of the others in this story had needed to do so directly: conquer its neighbors outright. Four rivers, four separate beginnings, centuries apart, none aware of the others. And yet every one of them arrived at the same recipe: surplus, organization, record, and force. Because once a surplus exists, someone will always find a way to rule it. This is not the story of one empire's rise. It is the story of a pattern the ancient world discovered over and over again, wherever the conditions allowed it. And so the Nile gave birth to a civilization that refused to be forgotten. In stone and silence they carved their place in eternity. The pyramids still stand, watching us as we watch them. From the black soil of the Nile, we travel east to a civilization that rose without kings, without pyramids, without conquest. Along the Indus River, cities of perfect order appear, straight streets, covered drains, and silent warehouses of grain. Their world with mathematical precision. Next time, the Indus Valley.